Smile on my face, catch my set, the mood, the rest is true, accepting you for the things in life you do, pick and choose in the game to win, I lose. Only traveling the one way, that's up. People always say to me, give up. I never had enough in a belief where I can feel all the people feeling me. What I gotta say, what I gotta pray, believing in living this life every single way. Got a bunch of game, but it's not a sweepstakes. Got a bunch of love versus money in the bank. Anything is possible when obstacle jump the highest obstacle, unexpected audible or foxtrot, hopscotch. Place your feet in the right spot, thoughts under game like the belief in me. Just continue to buy. I believe, I believe, so I believe, living yourself
welcome, and thank you for joining us for our Open Heart Spiritual Center live stream celebration for this Sunday, August the 9th, 2020. We are so glad that you have joined us. I greet you, I bless you, I see God in you. We're so grateful to all of the people who have contributed their gifts to make this celebration possible, whether it's through the music, whether it's through the affirmative reading, the prayer, whatever other things that you have done to make this a celebration, and you who tune in each week to connect through your own consciousness and through your own heart center. Take a moment now to turn within, to offer an opening prayer. As we give thanks for this day and for this time of celebration, recognizing that God is all there is, that God is flowing in, through, and as each and every one of us, expressing itself absolutely and completely. I'm grateful for this knowledge. I'm grateful for this knowing. I'm grateful for this day. And as we take the opportunity to pause and to remember those persons a part of our community, we continue to be in prayer for Daniel Lee, the brother of Matthew Lee. We continue to be in prayer for the Joyner family and for the Gilmore family, for Renee Crone, Mary Kirkland, for each and every person that is viewing this broadcast and beyond. All of our circles of influence and the ways in which we touch people, we remember them. We remember our communities. We remember our world, continuing to address this issue of COVID-19 and all that is happening, continuing to address the issues of racial inequality and inequity, and bringing forth a just society in a world that works for everyone. We continue that each of us in our own way, that as we strive to cope with this being socially and physically distanced from one another, life being turned upside down in many different ways, and the things that we do and the ways that we are used to gathering that are not there for us now, and those who have found themselves maybe without jobs, struggling with all of that, we continue to know that in the midst that God is present. God continues to provide opportunities and gifts and resources, and allows us to know our creativity and all that is needed in these moments to find our place of center, our place of striving, our place of coping, our place of overcoming. And with joy and gratitude for knowing this truth, I release my word into the creative medium. I know that all is done here and now, and so it is.
Numbering our days. I intentionally and purposefully live each day to its fullest. I praise the miracles that are already on their way to me, and I express my gratitude for the precious gift of this day.
Hello, family. I am reading our inspirational or affirmative reading today from Science of Mind, and I'm reading Let's Get Together and Feel All Right. While I know myself as a creation of God, I am also obligated to realize and remember that everyone else and everything else are also God's creation. And that's a quote from Maya Angelou. I am guided by the same intelligence and inspired by the same imagination which scatters the moonbeams across the waves and holds the force of nature in its grasp. And that's a quote from Ernest Holmes, the book, This Thing Called You. Each of the more 7 billion people on this planet has a direct relationship to God. But if every individual operated without coordination with others, nothing would ever be accomplished. The unity between God and people is oneness. Guided by oneness, we seek beneficial relationships. Those relationships can reflect either unity or duality, depending on what we do. The nature of God is unity. Therefore, my true essential nature is also unity. Why do we sometimes forget to treat every person we meet as our equal? Why do we sometimes create unnatural and unnecessary hierarchies and feel more secure? Why do we allow disparities to exist in our neighborhoods, workplaces, and societies? Why do we allow hatred and violence to prevail? Why do we turn our back on children or families who are struggling? Why do we believe each individual should be able to pull themselves up on their own when they typically did not get into a disadvantaged position solely because of their individual choices or actions? Why do we measure our success by comparing what we have to those with less? Why do we forget that every other person is an equally valuable and important expression of God? Beginning today, let's break down the artificial barriers we have created. Let's create or expand intentional bridges between ourselves and people from different cultures, different age groups, or different professions. Beginning today, let's remember that the same intelligence that is in any one of us is in all of us. And it ends with this affirmation: I am a bold and powerful expression of unity. Namaste.
And you were there for me, always there to set me free. When I broke down and cried, you were right there by my side. You were there, always there, always there, always there, always there, always there for me. How do we reach the other side? How do we know wrong from right? How can we be all we can be when we find it so hard to see that you were holding me, consoling me, father to me, mother to me, always there, always there for me. You're always there, always there, always there, always there, always there, always there for me. It's no wonder that I love you so. You're always there to help me grow when life itself begins to burn. I always know just where to turn, 'cause you're always there, always there, always there, always there, always there, always there for me. You're always there, always there, always there, always there, always there, always there for me. He's always there, always there. He's always there, always there. He's always there, always there for me. God's always there, always there. was there. Remember the time when you were sad? He was there. Remember the time when you were sick? He was right there. And even the time when you were joyful.
August the 9th, 2020. We want to first recognize all of our August babies. Jessica, Philip, Gabriel, Zelia, Jason, Aisha, Akila, Ernestine, and Villa. We wish you a very, very happy rotation, another year celebrating your rotation, your journey around the sun. May you have a great birthday. We want to remember in our prayers the Lee family, the Gilmore family, the Joyner family, Mary Kirkland, Renee Crone, and each and every one of you. We continue to lift each of you in prayer and invite you in your own prayer time to whisper a prayer, to say a prayer, to know for one another our wholeness and well-being. Each Tuesday at 12:30 p.m., we provide an opportunity in the middle of your day to slow down, to center down with our midday love grid meditation led by Britannia Allen. Go to our website, ohsc901.com, and enter the meditation room there. Beginning this week, our Open Heart Connection will switch from Thursday evenings to Wednesday evenings. It'll be our Open Heart Wednesday Connection, a virtual gathering at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. You could go there, log in on our website. It's a way for us to connect as a family, to see one another, to discuss things that are happening with one another, to support one another, to celebrate all of the good things that are going on, and provide a sense of community that we're not yet able to have because we can't be physically with one another. But this is a way. Join us this Wednesday. We're still inviting your input for our online classes and other activities you'd like to see. Take our survey at our website. Also, again, if you would like to contribute an affirmative reading, send your video to jgilmore@openheartspiritual.org. It's very easy. You can use the camera on your smartphone. You can use the camera on your computer. If you're not sure, you can contact me and I'll walk you through the steps. But we would love to have you doing an affirmative reading during one of our live stream celebrations. Also, every morning at 8 a.m., we have our daily affirmative prayer call. It's simple. You dial in 901-586-8755 and you join us in prayer. One of the members of our prayer team begins with an inspirational reading, and then they provide a prayer that helps to center and to focus and to provide us with a knowing that we are connected with all that is. It brings into place the power of prayer. Won't you join us?
Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth are the stars and all of creation. God is creator, all in all, needing us to shine His light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things anew, and God needs us to shine His light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine His light, and God needs us to shine His light, and God needs us to shine His light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Your presence is requested. There is an organization that's called the Institute of Noetic Sciences. It was founded by Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who was the sixth person to walk on the moon. And on his return from that mission, as he was looking out at the Earth through his small spacecraft window, he said he had an experience. He looked and he saw the planet Earth, and he said he's noticed something. He didn't see any lines of country, political affiliations, or any other kinds of divisions. All he saw was one planet. And what he said was that he had a profound sense of universal connectedness. He started an organization, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, or IONS, that looks at the things that mystics and healers and religious teachers and people have been telling us down through the ages, to look at those things in terms of our oneness, our connectedness, our being expressions of universal presence from a scientific point of view. One time, Edgar Mitchell was in Memphis speaking, and I went to hear him. I'd seen him speak before. I'd been to one of the IONS conferences. And while he and I were talking, the president, James O.D. of IONS, walked up to us, and Edgar Mitchell introduced us. James O.D. and I began a conversation, and it was in that conversation that I received a gift. Not something in nice and shiny wrapping paper, or something that came in a gift bag, or something in an envelope. But as I talked with James O.D., in that moment, I felt this sense that in that moment, I was the only person in the room. Even though we were in a crowded room, as I stood there and I talked to James O.D., it became apparent to me that he was completely listening to me. It was a different kind of listening, because most of the time when we engage one another in conversation, we're waiting to put our 2 cents in. Someone tells us what happened to them, and we can't wait to tell them our story. Someone once said that we live in an age of unfinished sentences because we're stumbling over one another, trying to get our word in, trying to get our perspective in, trying to tell our story. Or we're judging what the other person is saying, and we're ready to offer advice. But in that moment, I felt completely heard. He gave me a gift, the gift of his presence. Yes, his presence, complete and total listening, complete and total acceptance. Morton Kelsey, the Episcopal priest and psychologist, said that listening is an act of love. He goes on to say that real listening is a kind of prayer, for as we listen, we penetrate through the human ego and hear the Spirit of God, which reveals itself and dwells in the hearts of everyone. Real listening is a religious experience. Often, when I have listened deeply to another, I have the same sense of awe as when I have entered into a holy place and communed with the heart of being itself. In this age of distraction, of competing with cell phones and constant barrage of information, real listening, not waiting to add our 2 cents is required. And especially in this time of social distancing, social unrest, political divisiveness, to truly hear someone, your presence is requested. Years ago, I had a chaplain experience where when I began working at Children's Medical Center in Dallas and Parkland Hospital, it was my first on-call experience. I had a pager. Some of you may not know what that is now, but I was paged to come to the emergency room. And when I got there, the nurse greeted me at the door and said that there was a family inside of one of the rooms whose father was dying, and that he was a DNR. I didn't know what a DNR meant, and she explained to me that it was do not resuscitate, which meant that they were going to allow him to die and not try to do any medical intervention. That kind of unnerved me a bit because it was my first time, but I walked in the room and I noticed this family gathered around their father, holding hands. They, of course, were very sad. They were watching him take his last breaths. And I walked up and I said, I'm Chaplain Gilmore. And I started on some things that I started to say that I thought would comfort them, that would provide them with some type of reassurance or whatever. And in the midst of my talking, I noticed that no one was listening to me. They were, as it should be, all focused on their father. And it was in that moment that one of the family members broke hands with the person that was standing next to them, reached out, extended their hand to me, and invited me into the circle. I stood there with the rest of the family members, and we watched as he took a breath, The next breath came slower. He took another breath. It was slower. He took another breath. It was shallow and it was slower. And then finally, he took his last breath. We stood there for a moment, and then one of them said, "Chaplain, will you pray?" I offered a prayer, and I finished up what I needed to do with them, and I walked out of the room feeling like, well, I didn't do a whole lot for this family. But 2 years later, I had gone to a doctor's appointment, and the medical plaza where my doctor's office was located had this wonderful fountain that I like to spend some time in front of. And I was standing there looking at the water when a woman came up to me and she approached me. She said, "Excuse me, were you a chaplain at Parkland Hospital?" And I said, "Yes." She said, "You may not remember me, but I remember you. You were there when my father died." She said, "I don't remember what you said. I just remember that you were there. I remember you being there. Thank you for being there. You'll never know how much it meant to me." You'll never know how much. The power and gift of presence. It's been said that the reason the master teacher Jesus was so effective because he was affective, that he listened with his heart, that he was able to see beyond experiences and beyond appearances. A question I often repeat, because the first time I heard it, it really struck me, was how many sick people, how many prostitutes did Jesus encounter? How many sinners did Jesus encounter? And usually people start running through their minds and thinking of some of the stories that they've read and the encounters of Jesus and all of that, and start beginning to add them up. Well, there was this woman here, and there was that man, the blind man, and there was all of that. But the answer is none. None. Because Jesus looked beyond their circumstances and saw people for who they truly were. Individualized expressions of God, and he gave them the gift of his presence. He was so effective because he was affective, looked beyond and gave the gift of his presence. Many of you hear me say that in all the time that when we are physically gathered together at Open Heart, there is a moment in our celebration where we do something radical. When we get to that moment, I see a lot of people laugh when we do it, because I think that there's some people that are uncomfortable with it and all of that. But it's serious to me. It's serious to me. And it's radical because we turn to a person. That's why I like to do it only one-on-one. I know some of you like to do it in form circles and all of those kinds of things, but I like to do it on one-on-one. Turn to a person, look them in the eye, and declare, "I greet you. I bless you. I see God in you." And why is that radical? Because what you're saying in that moment to that other person, that despite appearances, that beyond appearances, that beyond labels, that beyond race, that beyond sexual orientation, that beyond your past, that beyond your circumstances, that beyond your history, that beyond where you live, that beyond how much money you make, that beyond any other things, that in this moment, even if you yourself may not know it, even if you yourself may not be able to see it in this moment, I see God in you. I see exactly who it is that you are. And I'm saying to us today that in this time when we are not physically able to be together, that even if it's by phone, even if it's by virtual reality from the perspective of a computer screen, even if it's just you think about a person, you take a moment, you visualize them, and you whisper a prayer, This is the time when your gift, the gift that you have to offer, the gift that you can give, the gift that is powerful, because we are all one, because we are all connected by the divine presence. The gift that you can give is your own presence, that you can truly say it and mean it. Have that namaste moment. I greet you. I bless you. I see God in you. Your presence is requested.
Go. There's a light in the darkness, though the night is black as my skin. There's a light burning bright, showing me I know I've been. There's a cry in the distance. It's a voice that comes from deep within. There's a cry asking why. I pray the answers appear. But I know I've been. There's a road we've been traveling, lost so many on the way, but the riches will be plenty, worth the price we had to pay. There's a dream in the future. There's a struggle that we have yet to end. And there's pride in my heart, 'cause I know where I'm going. Yes, I do. And I know where I've been. Yeah. There's a road we must travel. There is a promise that we must make. Oh, but the riches will be plenty, yeah. Worth the risk and the chance that we take. There's a dream, in the future. There's a struggle that we have yet to end. And there's pride in our hearts to lift us up until tomorrow. 'Cause just to sit still and be unseen. Lord knows I know where I've been. Yeah, I'll give thanks to my God, 'cause I know where I've been.
Infinite prosperity is mine to share. I am blessed. Thank you for your continued support of Open Heart. You can give in several ways via our church app. If you don't already have it on your phone, you can go to our website, at ohsc901.com and download it there. Or you can go to this website and click on the Give button and donate there. Finally, you can text the word GIVE to 615-422-4292.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know that the grace of God was sufficient, and I didn't know that the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling to make it through another day, you got to let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. God's work is mighty and marvelous. God increases our lives every day, and my soul magnifies the Lord. Yes, God's love redefines my existence. Yes, God's peace resurrects my life. Oh yes, God's joy, well, it's lifting me. It's lifting me. It's lifting me up. God's joy, oh yes, said it's lifting me, lifting me up. See, God
advance. And when we know in God we will stand, and we'll say, let it rain or shine, I will be safe in the Spirit, in a house that God built for me. Don't labor in vain, just let the Lord build the house, and don't labor in vain, except the Lord build the house. We labor in vain. Don't labor in vain.